This is the Revolution Roundtable, a weekly panel discussion of all the latest news, music, and world issues. Join us every week at 8 p.m. Eastern for great conversation. And now, here's your host, Craig Gador.
Yep. Here I am again, episode 5. My name is Craig G, music director here at Revolution Radio. And with me tonight on the round table, I have 3 old dear friends that I'm super stoked to be, hanging out with again. To this way, right over there. His name is Robin Everhart. And he's a kick-ass bass player. He is living in, where are you living in California right now, Rob?
Oakland.
You're in Oakland.
Yes,
nice.
Sir.
Okay. So yeah, I had the very good privilege of playing with all of these musicians that are here with me tonight. And again, like I say, it's awesome to hook up with them one more time. Robin is still to this day one of my favorite bass players of all time. Beneath him is Leon Racine, a teacher and retired. What are you doing these days, Leon?
Waiting for music to start happening again.
Yeah.
Sighing a lot.
But I'll tell you later, but I feel like I'm lucky because I feel like I'm the only one who's been performing regularly, to be honest. We'll talk about it later.
Okay, sounds good. We'll definitely talk about that. And then to his left, an old friend and brother, of course, to the guy just to my right, Nelson Everhart. Buddy, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Craig? Gentlemen?
Good, man. Good. It's good to see you guys again. It truly is good to see you. The last time we played in a band together, does anybody have any idea what year that was? Aside from the thing that we just did for your dad.
97.
When did you leave for Texas, Robin? Because I think you were the last one to go.
Like 98.
98.
I think.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was the same time I moved to Austin.
Unreal. Because we were talking with on episode 4, we were talking with our all of us, our old friend Chris McBride, about a gig that we did in Kingston, a beer festival that we did in Kingston. Do you guys remember that with the funk band?
I remember the beginning.
It gets progressively fuzzier.
Yes, that's right. And all I remember was there was no one there, and all the brewers were extremely bored. And we kept going from brewery to brewery, and they were just like, give us your glasses. Don't give us a ticket. Just give me your glass. Because we're so bored, and we ended up hanging out with all of them. So, guys, it is awesome to have you all here. This is the first, I guess, like with all musicians, roundtable that I'm doing. So I'm stoked for this one. And lots to talk about, so we're going to get cracking. Now, we start out the program each week with just a quick wellness check because COVID is just, ravaging everybody on the planet. So, Robin, we'll start with you. How are you doing these days, buddy?
I am excellent, fully vaccinated, one and done in the parking lot of the Oakland Coliseum.
Nice.
Go Raiders. Raiders.
Nice. Leon, how are you?
I'm good as far as that goes. I got vaccinated one of 2. Or who knows what, one of 3, one of 26. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, Lori just got hers this morning.
Did she? Okay, good.
We're slowly getting in line.
Yeah, because she's a teacher. So that's the next thing that they're talking about is doing essential workers, which I am, and teachers. So, yeah, good. And Nelson, how's it going?
Drummers are essential. We got machines to do that now.
Well spoken, left hand.
Here we go.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
on. I got my second one this morning.
Yeah. You got your second one this morning? Cool.
I did.
And how's everything going? So, okay, we're going to talk about this because this is another part of everything. We just have to get to everybody's story to just figure out where everyone is now. So what are you doing as far as, your job goes? Nelson.
Who is that question to?
Oh,
there we
go.
Yeah.
Sorry, you've been going clockwise on my screen, so I was unsure there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. I write music for video games. I write music for a couple games called Wizard 101 and Pirate 101. I'm doing another game called Crowfall that's just about to be released. I also in an effort to try and remember how to speak English and relate to other human beings, I teach a class at Cincinnati State here, and we've been virtual since March of last year.
Nice. What are you teaching?
It's video audio production, so Pro Tools 101 basically.
Nice. Okay, good. So boys, can we let's go back, if we can go back to high school for everybody. Maybe not Leon, but let's go back to high school for the two Everhart boys, and essentially how I got to meet you guys. I know the first person I met was Nelson because we met at Humber.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start
Humber
with
High
you.
School.
Yeah, Humber High School, exactly. Yeah, Humber Cottage. So Robin, how old were you when you first picked up the BS?
Somewhere between 7th and 8th grade, or as you call it, grade 7 and grade 8.
Nice. Yes.
We
So-
speak your language.
Yeah.
Didn't realize there was that much of a difference.
You're gonna go to the
I know.
cottage and pick up a 2-4.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so I
Guys
was
are
like
terrible.
14.
Yeah.
14,
Nice.
15.
Who was your first bass teacher?
Probably Ian Torres or my brother, and then followed shortly thereafter by this guy, and then
Nice.
shortly thereafter
Take
by
lessons in a strip mall.
Will Jarvis. Oh yeah, Main Street, Markham. Your backyard still?
Yeah,
Carlaw Conservatory. Shout out
yeah,
to
of course.
Barry Carlaw.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. He's still there. Yeah,
Wow.
he's still on Markham Main Street. Actually, now he's moved up a little bit. He's moved up to Bullock and Markham Main Street. He's not in that little strip plaza anymore. But yeah,
Does
he's still.
he have the super duper feathery mullet still?
He sure does.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
long and gray. It's fantastic.
Oh
Fabulous.
wow. He's like the Canadian for any of my American viewers, any of my fans who are here. Oh, hello, C. McBride.
Gabe.
He's like the Canadian achy breaky heart.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. Actually, I know exactly what you mean by that. That's incredible.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Nice. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Nelson. Nelson, can you just sort of go through? I was actually wondering if you could talk a little bit about working with our man Leon here as far as things goes, because you guys had a lot of history together at Unionville High School.
That's
And,
right. It was a
yeah,
jazz
so-
band. I crashed into the jazz band and just started being a pain in the ass from the get-go, I think. Is that correct, Leon?
I don't think you were any different than the majority, although I do remember eventually joining your big band, borrowing a trombone to do it, so that I could kibitz just like you did in my high school band in your band.
guys, quiet down, please. That's what he was talking about all those years. Yeah, so I went to school and played in the jazz band, and then I got out and went to college, went to Humber with Craig, and we were doing a bunch of musical theater, and we had just done Chicago in '95, I think. And after that show was over, we just wanted to keep playing, as sort of that show's, jazzy, not necessarily big band, but we kind of wanted to looked into do Mike Demetriadis and I were like, hey, let's, we got curtains in the barn, let's put on a show. And didn't really know who'd want to play. And I think I asked Leon because we were, had no idea who else played trombone. And it was like, would you like to play? He's like, yeah, I'll be in your band and just sit there and kibitz from the middle row. No, but came in, was really helpful. And I think we all had a great time. Is it still a thing, or is it on hiatus now?
It's been on hiatus since we played the Beaches when my 7-year-old was 1 or 2, and I said, this is like impossible with a toddler. And of course, and there was a 4-year-old at the time as well. Yeah. And I just said, we'll come back to it when it's not impossible.
It's
And so
probably
I'm still waiting.
inconvenient. It's probably inconvenient playing on the band stage and having to stop to chase your 4-year-old in traffic.
Man, I can change a diaper with one hand though while I'm doing it. You know, I just gotta hold the trombone like this. And
Seventh position.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's how we kind of all congregated up. And then Craig was playing with you at the big band at Humber and said, "Hey, I have a little thing going on at home. Would you like to play?" and he was like, "Sure." So you came on over and we just sort of went from there.
Yeah. And that started amazing. What I got to be honest with you, what felt like for me, like 20 years of music. It was really only, I mean, it was, let's see. So if you guys left in 97, BJ Nelson,
Yeah,
your
like
first
2
year
years.
would have been, was your first year 92?
Yes.
Yeah. And how long were you at Humber for? How long did you stay for the 3 years?
Let's say probably.
Yeah.
Or
I died.
mostly.
I stayed for the 3 years, but really was there for 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was on the Craig plan then.
Nice.
I did the
I think
standard
a lot
year
of
and a half, by the way, at Humber.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, good.
Much
Yeah,
more standard, I think.
I think a lot of people were on the Craig plan. Yeah, 2.5 years. Yeah, and then because I remember you basically said we've got this big band, and at the time your dad was playing drums, and I think Will Langstroth was playing as well, if I'm
Baron.
not mistaken.
I wanna say-
Baron.
I want to say
yeah,
Baron
Baron Evans,
Or-
maybe.
or Cam.
I
Baron
don't
and
remember
Cam.
Cam.
Cam was before Baron.
Yeah, I don't remember Cam.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
Baron
Cam
for
was
sure. And then Baron was like, "Yeah, I think Baron was going off to chef school or something like that." And then I ended up playing. Well, I think that's what he is now. I think he's a chef.
Is he really?
I think he is. Yeah,
He
I've
was
seen
in
him
the
in a
movie-
chef's coat a couple times. So
He was in the movie industry for a little bit.
Mhm.
Because he went.
Oh, that's
to,
right.
he
Yeah,
went
yeah,
to
that's right.
Humber,
TV.
Now I remember. He went to Humber for film.
Right. Wow. Okay, so this kind of all gets tied in. Robin, then you end up going and playing with at Unionville High School as well under
Yes,
our Leon here.
the tutelage of one of my favorite bass players.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
I got-
Leon's not bad. Not
I
bad at
got-
all.
pulled into a practice room, having just showed up. He's like, "Hey, you're Nelson's brother, right?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." And it was like, he put a chart in front of me. He's like, "Play this," and I was like, okay." And it was Samba de los Gatos,
Oh my gosh, I
And-
remember that.
and I did not read it. But he goes, "Okay, how long would it take you to learn that?" I was like, I can get it, sir." He's like, "Okay,
Give
you're
me
in
a
senior
moist
jazz band."
towelette as well.
We all had
Wet.
scratchier voices back then too.
And so he's like, "Okay, you're in senior jazz band. We need a bass player." I was like, "Okay, cool, great."
So you were in senior jazz band in grade 10?
9,
9.
Like- first week.
Wow.
That's
That-
basically why I chose bass,
that-
though, because there were no bass players, and I wanted
Right.
to work.
Really carried a cachet with it.
Yeah. Wow. That's dude, that's impressive. Okay, actually I'm actually seriously blown away by that. I didn't realize you'd done it that early. So, that's super cool. Leon, can we get your story please? When did you start teaching? What year did you start teaching?
What year?
Roughly.
88 or 9, something like that.
Mhm.
Was I was like 30-ish or 31-ish or something like that. Was on
What were you doing before? Were you just like gigging and stuff, like just
yeah,
playing?
Yeah, I was doing like top 40 bands and stuff. And also, driving cab and washing carpets, just doing things that those people on my side of the tracks do when they don't have a gig. I
Right.
bring that up only because there was like bands, not all of them, but often the band I was with on the road, they'd come back to Toronto and they'd go, "Okay, well we got like 6 weeks headed up, but we got 2 weeks off now," and they'd all go back to their parents' house. just kind of live in Rosedale or whatever the hell. Well, that's all seemed like Rosedale to me, but I'm sure it was just kind of, Unionville or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I couldn't afford to do that. So I would, find a cab or, find something to do for 2 weeks to keep the food on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what were those
anyways,
bands?
I was doing that for a while. What's that?
What were those bands?
The longest one was the precursor to the Foreigners, and it was called
The Locals?
Stylus. It was called Stylus. The one before that was called Iolus, which was like it was all like original stuff and much like heavier. And I was the keyboard player in that band, but I was the bass player in Stylus. Yeah. So, and that was actually for a while. I was in that for like a couple of years, which which was weird for me. Normally it would be 6 months and then I'd look for another band because they weren't working enough.
Yeah. We've all done that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what was the first high school that you started working at?
I feel so embarrassed to say this because I've had so many students now who went into education who have gone to teach in Nunavut or New Zealand or Taiwan or something. Like they've just spread out all over the world. I didn't even have to apply. I'm walking the halls of FOOT, it was called at the time, Faculty of Education at U of T, which was at Spadina and Bloor at the time. It was within the building of U of T schools, and the head of the department came over and said, "Hey, Unionville needs someone to teach jazz and composition." I went, "Okay," and I just kind of applied, and they said, "Okay, come on up here," and so.
That just doesn't happen anymore.
I feel embarrassed how easy it was to get that job. Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying, that would never happen these days. Like that would never, ever happen.
Well, no, I mean, a million things didn't happen. I mean, it was like one of the things was when you went and did your interview, the other people in the music department were sitting there. At the very least, the department head was, because they wanted to know what you could teach and what you didn't want to, all those kind of things. Like, and that doesn't matter. Any of those things don't matter. So, yeah, I just kind of got, dragged in there. And so I taught there for quite a long time, like 15 or 16 years. I disappeared for 1 year to fill in for someone because I didn't do anything. The vice principal there, or the principal there, knew me and said, "Hey, you want to come and fill in?" I went, "Okay." And so I went and taught at Middlefield for a year.
So I was actually at Unionville that year that you went and filled in, and I took over the jazz band.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, that makes sense. It was a very different experience. I went and then I finished at Bayview I was at Bayview for almost as long, 15, 16 years. It was Unionville had some great players, two of them right here, and great musical minds, whatnot.
Yeah.
Much
definitely.
Bigger program though at Bayview. At Bayview, for big chunks of time at Bayview, I ran 5 big bands all the time and a dozen combos all the time. So it wasn't like there's no way in grade 9 bass players playing in the senior jazz band because I every year in grade 9 I was going, well, it could have been you anyways. You're right, but I was like, I was walking halls going, or we had like 6th grade 9 wind classes and going, we always need bass players. So if you want to learn how to play bass, come and talk to me and we'll get you in a combo. And we always had like 3 or 4 grade 9 combos so that by the time we got to seniors, we had, bass players and drummers and guitar players, etc. to choose from.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a nice time.
I didn't realize that Bayview was that big. I thought I would have thought Unionville would have been twice the size, just being an art school.
It was a great program, but it was relatively small. I had 500 kids, and I didn't. We had 500 kids in the program, in the music program at Bayview.
Holy.
Yeah, it was a big a lot of kids, and the focus was really kind of different than, it's not like we weren't looking for excellence, but we were looking for, everyone should know how to do this, and everyone, they like, do you guys remember how much trouble I had trying to teach harmony at Unionville, especially like some of the, I'll just say it. some of the singers who just said, I don't want to do this. I don't need this, whatever.
Right.
The grade 11
Mr.
class
Brano.
at Bayview, I took the grade 11 class. Almost all the history stuff was jazz stuff. And at the end of the final exam was, here's a Bach chorale. Give me a full every harmonic and every melodic note. Tell me what it is. It's not like it's what everyone should be doing, but like you're getting a credit, just like you're getting a calculus credit. So you may as well learn things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Get as much out of it as you possibly can. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Dude,
They were both
that's
fun
awesome.
for different reasons.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, I mean, you kind of had the best of both worlds. I mean, you had the size, like you had, the amount of students that you had at Bayview, and I guess probably all the things that you got at Unionville would have prepared you for the things that you ended up doing at Bayview.
I think so. There was very smart kids at Bayview, at Unionville. Bayview, kind of, there had to be smart kids in a sense because there was an international baccalaureate program there, so they're all. Again, I don't know if they're any smarter than they were at Unionville or any other high school. Like I think, just like a lot of places, I think they kind of both had to push your parents,
Yeah.
Than your standard school. Like if I'm putting my kids, just like on a complete aside, if I'm putting my kids grabbing a school around somewhere, like there's lots of great options. I'm sending them to Markville, and they pride themselves on being the nothing school, but they do everything well. But they're not an art school. They're not a phys ed school. They're not a IB school. They're like nothing. But man, they put on great shows every year. They have like big commitments to all kinds of things.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's where Chris McBride was from.
That's right.
Markville.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where he learned all his. That's where he got hooked on
becoming
a sound engineer. Yeah.
But he's actually at the corner of Robinson and Main Street right now.
Yeah.
Even as we speak.
That's what he said in the chat.
Oh, did he say that in the chat? Let's have a look. See here. Yes.
He's working the corner. He's working the corner.
Working the corner again. Hey, listen. When you're a sound engineer, you do what you have to do, right? So.
I know it's Carlaw music. I'm making a joke. Chris, has it been that long? Come on. I'll buy you a strong bow.
He's gotten into the beer now. You wouldn't believe it, honestly.
Oh.
C. McBee, actually, he chugs a beer because all I remember that he used to ever drink was Crown Royal and ginger. That was it. That was his thing, Crown Royal and ginger. But now he's like, no, beer. It's like, so good for you. Graduated to the big boys. Finally. Okay, guys. So to anybody out there that's watching and is going to watch this afterwards, because, everybody's going to be checking this out after we're done. I kind of need to just sort of back everything up here just a little bit before we get essentially to where everyone is today, because the three gentlemen that I'm sitting with right now, I consider just good old close friends. And if it wasn't for these guys, I wouldn't have had the musical experiences that I ended up having. I've talked about musicals now. I've talked about big band now. I've talked about funk band now. I've talked about rock and roll bands. I've talked about a million different experiences that I've had. And one of these three guys, or all three of them, generally tend to be involved in that. So I have a small list here of just a few things. Nelson and I, there goes Jen. She's going to get a beverage. Nelson and I, do what you got to do. I know you got the AirPods in, so you can go traveling.
Mess with them.
No, we can see you. Nelson and I playing in a band from Stouffville called Liquid Sky, and Nelson played nothing but a fretless bass. Do you remember that?
I mean, probably as much as I knew what I was doing playing fretless bass.
That would have been my fretless bass.
Yes, actually it was. Yeah, it was Rob's fretless bass. Another one that I always remember very fondly was playing with Leon in a jazz quintet. I can never remember the vocalist's name, but the pianist's name was Peter Sugden.
Oh yeah,
and we used to do gigs at the Montreal Bistro when that was at Sherbourne and Adelaide, I believe it was.
Yeah,
and that was that was a really, really nice club. And I remember the night that I saw Joey DeFrancesco there. I saw him with a jazz quintet. And I also saw Oscar Peterson there and set up Martin Drew's drums, actually. Oscar's
Didn't you go to
drummer.
Oscar Peterson's house?
I did go to Oscar Peterson's house. Yeah, actually, when they were,
Story, Rob.
yeah, they were rehearsing at Oscar's house, and he lived in Mississauga, in a very she area of Mississauga. And I went out, and I had the drums with me for Martin Drew, and I was going to set them up. And I knock on this gigantic door, like the biggest door I've ever seen in my life, and doom, doom, doom. I knock on it, and his butler opens the door, and he looks at me, and very seriously he says, "Mr. Peterson's studio is down that hallway, down the staircase, and the first room on the left-hand side. Don't touch anything." And and I said, "Yes, sir, no problem." So I start loading in the drums. I'm loading in the drums, doing this whole thing, and
Touching everything I can.
every possible thing I can get my hands on. I'm touching, right?
Mine.
I'm licking the mirrors and stuff, right? So anyway, I get all the drums loaded in, and on the very last trip, I close the door behind me, and there's this poster, and it's probably, you can't see it now, I'm on camera, but it's probably, I don't know, something like, probably about like that big, right? Something like this. And on it, it's Oscar Peterson, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, and Louis Armstrong sitting on a park bench in front of the Eiffel Tower, all drinking a glass of wine. And all of the other three members signed the poster. "Love you, Oscar, Ella," like in all of these different things. I'm literally staring at this poster thinking to myself, that's got to be worth like $200,000. Like I'm literally staring at four of like jazz's, finest people of all time. And they're all just sitting on a park bench, drinking a glass of wine in front of the Eiffel Tower, no less. Must be nice.
I got to find that photo.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, just the fact that they had all signed it too. So, like I was saying, with the amount of music that I've played with these gentlemen, I've done musicals. I've played in a million bands, played in all of the, the jazz band, funk band, all of those amazing things that we've done over the years. And I still seriously want to thank you guys for that, because I had so much fucking fun, and I miss it so much. Like, you guys just had to move back to the States, didn't you? Thanks for that. Okay, so we're going to start with Rob. We're going to start with you. I have a few questions for each one of you, and you can elaborate as much as you want. And because we're all musicians, I'm sure you guys have a lot of stuff to say about these things.
Oh boy.
Ready? Here we go.
Better get these right.
Yeah, that's right. There is a quiz at the end of this. Okay, so for you, what would be one of the albums? I'm not going to say what's your favorite album of all time. There's no such thing for a musician. It doesn't exist. What's one album that you could say in history for you that absolutely blew your mind, or changed the way you think about your instrument, or just really, really heavily influenced you?
Okay, sure. I wasn't sure. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna fuck this up. And then I remembered you lent my brother a bunch of CDs, and back in the day when we had Discmans, I would walk to school with a Discman, right?
Yeah.
So I just grabbed this CD in this pile that I'd never seen before. I'm like, oh, I've heard of this guy. And I put it in my Discman, put my Sony with the plastic things around.
Yeah.
Walk to school. Done it a million times. End up getting lost walking to school because the shit was so funky.
Okay.
James Brown, In the Jungle Groove.
Oh yeah, of course. Right.
I decided I was going to take some random way to school and just like totally biffed it. I was like, oh, clap.
You just live down the street from school.
Yeah,
I know.
Literally. Yeah,
I know.
I think that's amazing.
It's a great story, right? It's totally.
I think that's great. Hey, listen, music
makes for a better.
Music does that to you sometimes, right? Yeah, I think that's an awesome story. I love it. Okay, Nelson, you're next. Yeah, get it right.
Oh, same question.
Same question.
I thought you weren't going to go the lazy route.
That
Okay,
was
that's
sweet of you, by the way, giving the old guy longer time to think about it.
This guy, that you were going to go the lazy route. I'm the interviewer, damn it.
Same question. Okay, that's an excellent question, Craig.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Like you said, there's so many of them that it's hard to like, settle on one. I mean, my favorite album is still probably Sting, 10 Summoner's Tales, as like a pop craftsman's album. It just hits all these like really interesting notes. That Maceo Parker, what was the live album?
Life on Planet Groove.
Life on Planet Groove. That was the other one that got me like heavily into funk. And then lately I've been listening to Snarky Puppy from Rob's ex
alma mater
classmates. Yeah.
Is Larnell Lewis in that?
He is in their most famous YouTube video.
Right. Okay.
But originally it was Sput Seawright from Dallas.
Oh, okay. Nice. All righty. Troublemaker, Leon, you're next.
Is that really me? Am I a troublemaker? I thought I was a smoother of the waters.
That's true. You are, definitely.
I'm not sure. They're probably both true.
You were the style coach.
Yeah. Because I had the big stash, so I didn't get hurt in rugby. I have to tell you that aside at some point about that.
Tell us next.
Okay.
$20. Stanley's in town.
That's right.
What I heard, I took piano starting when I was very young, and what you kind of do what you're doing, like in this case, the Royal Conservatory pieces, and you kind of play them. You just kind of do things, and it wasn't kind of easily available like it is now to find recordings of things you're playing, or things you might be playing. At one point, my piano teacher found me an easy version of Clair de Lune, Debussy, and then she gave my mom an album of Walter Gieseking playing them. But he's not just playing notes. It's just like there's a flow happening all over the place. If you think about Debussy, like there's barely even bar lines happening. There's every chord is designed not to resolve, even when you get to the end. And It's just like the album blew my mind. And like there's a million other things. Like I love James Taylor. I love, like the funk guys you're talking. I love all those guys. There's, Tchaikovsky's Sixth, the Last Movement, or all of Tchaikovsky for that matter. There's all kinds. But Walter Gieseking was the one that album opened up and said, "Wow, it's like music is like tells you about humanity." Like in that one album, kind of. It's you don't just press the buttons,
Yeah.
I had never heard of that guy. I just looked him up. He has a lot of albums.
Yes, he does. Wondering. Yeah, he's a master. But for Debussy especially, that's my teacher was pretty. I kind of lucked out.
Tell us about the stash.
Okay, so though many of you already know, I played rugby for almost 40 years, and when everyone's kind of got this, probably why people are saying I don't need a vaccine. I mean, not the true anti-vaxxers. They're just Kruger Dunning folks. I don't care, but I'm the ones that I just don't need it in this case. And it's got, I think, something to do. A lot of the young guys are doing because they're essentially, you can't. They're not undamageable. They're, what's the word for that? Whatever they, and I was like that when I was younger. I just launched myself at people because I was relatively small compared to, the people I was playing with. And I was kind of there just because, like playing at that level only because I was so berserk, just, dive because I'm 5'8", and I was probably only 210 or something other than. I got much bigger when I got slower and had to play a different position. At any rate, for the longest time, because all the guys at Bombay Beach where I was playing had this big Fu Manchu thing. So I had one as well. And then there's one year, and it might have been near when I started teaching at Unionville, I was thinking, well, I kind of have to look a little, I actually, if you remember, I actually wore a tweed jacket every once in a while in those days, sometimes even a tie. So I thought I should look a little bit. What's that?
It was gone by the time I got there. I think
I never there.
Okay. Yeah, I never remember ever seeing you in a tie.
I shaved it off, and I got punched so off of that one year. And then I shaved it. I got it back the next year, and then it's just back to normal. It was the weirdest kind of case study, Not like I didn't deserve to get punched, but it's just that didn't happen until that year.
Were you kind of like the Ty Domi of rugby? Like, were you like nudging
no,
at people?
No. I
And
was the one who, like, rugby's a kind of different sport in that sense. If a fight happens, normally you're sitting beside the guy that you're opposite, going, "Man, I'm sorry he's on my team." He goes, "Yeah, I know. The guy he's fighting is a jerk too." Like you're looking at guys doing that and saying, "Why are you doing that? Let's just play. Like, we have to not play while you're doing this crap."
Mhm.
So there's not a lot of that. Now, that doesn't mean every once in a while you get pissed at someone, kind of, tackle them a little more force than you really need to, or, again, some people would swing every once in a while, but, there's not a full Donniebrooky kind of thing. So, and I never wanted to, like, I used my hands kind of regularly, so I didn't want to do anything. So I never punched anyone because I didn't want to hurt my hands.
Right. Oh yeah, of course you're playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There's
I played
story of the
rugby.
Fu Manchu.
I played rugby for almost 2 games
Yes.
and 1 practice
Yes.
because
remember
Leon
that.
made me.
I remember that. That. Yeah.
My feet will never forgive you.
That was your rugby career?
That was it.
How long is
2
a rugby
games.
game? How long is an average rugby game, Leon?
The
fucking long.
regular one is 80 minutes. The high school one is normally 40.
40. So basically 80 minutes of your rugby career plus practice. Fantastic.
31 minutes too long
Yeah.
I got
per
to say,
game.
I'm
I've had a
pretty
lot
sure
of games
Leon.
that felt like that.
I'm pretty sure Leon is the only rugby player who's like, I needed to be careful with my hands for my piano playing.
Maybe
No,
that's why
I
you
was
got punched so much.
There was a guy that I played with at Markham Irish. That's Irish now, but the Markham Rugby Club. We were running around. He had a big French accent. And I was sure I must have played with him in Montreal, which is where I'm from. We would go through clubs every time we do laps or something or other. We'd go through, and well, maybe it was this club. And I finally realized that I knew him from U of T Faculty of Music. He was a cello player.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
big
okay.
policeman, big guy. But like, so there's actually a fair amount. For a long time, the what was it called before the teams merged? The Irish Canadians, half the team was doctors.
Oh,
It's a weird, it's an oddity about the game. I think
that's bizarre. Yeah, you wouldn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I would just
Clearly
think it would be
I've
like, yeah, no,
Nelson,
me neither.
Nelson managed to distance himself from all Leon's pleadings to join rugby. He's like,
no. There was. I went to. I showed up at one rehearsal,
and
and
you got laughed off the field.
I think they called those practices.
I think I'm here for a rehearsal, guys. Can you tell me where I get dressed?
I brought my sticks.
I'm here for the audition.
So I showed up, and then there was a bunch of people that looked like they knew what they were doing, and so I just kept walking. I was actually listening to that album that Craig let us borrow. I walked right past rugby practice.
Yeah.
It's what it does.
That's what James Brown does to you.
Maybe.
Just makes you keep walking,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so we're going to break the monotony here really quickly because I do have another question for all of you, because another really cool thing that I haven't done, but you three have, you've all been music directors. So think about that. Everyone, we're going to start with you, Nelson. Favorite Monty Python moment? Go.
I'm sorry. Did the one follow the other?
This is just
No.
breaking the monotony.
Okay. I got Monty Python moment. I mean, it's hard to beat. I actually discovered them flipping through channels and landed on Holy Grail. And it was the Black Knight scene. And it was just like, what is this? Like, if you have no, and maybe it was just our situation, but it's like, I didn't grow up with a lot of people who are Monty Python fans. And it wasn't like ingrained in the culture, I think, as much as it was like when we got to Canada, because Rob and I lived in Toronto for 15 years or so. And so I just stumbled on it. I think it was on City TV, probably. Yeah. And it was like, what is this thing? And I just remember like just watching the rest of it and going, what is this called? I need to find the videotape.
I need to find this. Yeah. Videotape. What's that? The first thing I saw was Live at the Hollywood Bowl. That was my introduction to them. Robin, you think of one of your favorites?
I still haven't seen Live. I need to get back into them. But it's also Holy Grail. And because he probably stole the more iconic, like, first one, I'll go with the theme song. Bum, ba, bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, 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 ba. And then the intro where it's like and they're running way up in the distance, and then it cuts back to the guy, and then they're running way in the distance. It cuts back to the guards just standing there, running, and then
They smile at him as well. I think the guards do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Alrighty, Leon, we know you have one. What's your favorite?
I like all kinds of things, but today I was listening to Eric Idle songs. I listened to the Galaxy one where he steps out of the fridge and talks about this lovely land that we call the Milky Way. You know that thing there, where he's, how insignificant you are.
Okay.
You know? And at the end, he says, "So can we have your liver?" And she goes, "Yeah, I think you've convinced me." So she gives his liver. That's from. It's not from either of those movies. And then the other one I listened to was from Life of Brian, the one at the very end when he's on the cross. Always look at the bright side of life. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you guys have all been musical directors, and I'm wondering.
So tell me, what's your favorite math formula?
Yeah. So no, I was just saying. I was just giving you
plus or minus the square root.
No, I was just giving you time to think about something. Okay. Anyway, Leon, I will start with you because of the fact that you've had a whole mess of experiences being a musical director. Are there any sort of like funny stories or anything that you can think of that as far as doing musicals, conducting in school, outside bands, anything that you can think of that
I just remember
still puts a smile on your face
between doing like I've done shows, like professional shows where like I'm like keyboard 2 and there's 4 people. That's all there is on stage, and and you're just making it work somehow. And then the antithesis of this, which is what we did at Unionville, at least when I was conducting things, where you take the reed book number 1 that has 3 instruments on it, and you take out all the flute parts and give it to a flute part, and then you take out all the clarinet parts and give it to a clarinet player. So instead of a pit of like 12 people, you have a pit of 38 that doesn't really fit in there, but whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just so that we can make sure that it got played, and unlike doing Markville's show, for instance, instead of doing those where you get together twice before the show and then you do the show. You'd have to rehearse the whole time you were doing the cast, teaching the cast stuff. You'd rehearse the band almost as long to make sure it was all going to work out.
Beej, or Nelson, Robin, you guys have any fond memories of musicals? Because I have a bunch because of the fact that I was a drummer for both of you guys doing musicals. Robin, with you, I did Tommy, Hair, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. The first one that I did with Nelson was Company. That was the first one that you and I did together.
Sondheim. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, they're all good. When you're directing, I mean, there's always stories that you apparently forget like 20 years later. Mm-hmm. But everything was fun, man. It's like you're always. I remember one time, since Baron came up, remember looking down. I think it was the first musical I did was Fame, and Baron was playing drums, and I looked down like we were in the middle of a tune. And like when you're conducting, you're just like always looking up at the actors and trying to cue people. And it's like the drums, the pit down in Unionville Theater was like down under and way back where the drums were because they're so damn loud. And so I'm like conducting this thing, and then I look down, because Baron's getting a little ahead of the beat, and I'm like, I look down, and he's like, he has like a Now magazine, and he was leaping through it on the floor, Tom. And I like it took me halfway through the song for that to actually matter. So that was a great moment.
That sounds like Baron for sure.
And I mean, the way we did it was pretty epic because we'd always, getting together and playing those shows was an excuse to like go hang out later and have some beers and just kick back with some like-minded folk.
Have some Kawartha Lakes Brewery and have some of that there.
I wish I could.
Yeah. Okay. So I got to talk to you about that, Nelson, really quickly. You were absolutely right. You were nice. Alberta whiskey's fantastic. Yeah, you were absolutely right. During the pandemic, unfortunately, I can't ship you guys any KLB to the States, but they did say once it lifts that previously you were able to ship alcohol to the States, but it has to be by ground. So I can't like throw it on an airplane for you and say, take it to my friends in Cincinnati and Los Angeles.
I can get you some vaccine for a case.
Oh, I think we're going to have to do a trade. That's too good to pass up this particular point in time, especially when you've got Doug Ford at the helm. So I won't go there.
As soon as it crosses the border, though, it becomes export. It's just a Molson export at that point.
Boom. I have the drums there. I could go over and if you want. Okay, yeah. So now this was something that I asked the guys on episode 2, and I'm wondering if in your musical journeys, all that, because if we could just, okay, we've got to touch on the 2 Everhart brothers. So, Robin, you played with a band out of Orange County, if I'm not mistaken, for a long time.
I don't know which county Long Beach is in. But it was LA area.
Is that area. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. So that's where Rival Sons was from.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. And Nelson, getting into like the video games that you're doing now, how did that all come about? Because I mean, at the time you were in Canada, you were in Unionville, and sort of were you like putting feelers out to the States? Like how was that? How did that all come about?
The first company that I wrote for video games for was in Toronto, and it was called Gray Matter, and they were right downtown. I went to high school with I'm not sure of his name anymore, but at Unionville, went to high school with a guy that was doing like user interface design for them, and it was like the really early days of. It wasn't even the internet; it was like bulletin board systems, and I happened to run into him and we were chatting about it, and he's like, I work at this company that does video games. And I was like, that's so cool.
Your voice was still cracking. Yeah.
Was it Blake?
No.
Okay.
He was the older brother of like a dude that was in my class, and I can't, it was Mike from Canada. You all know him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Good guy.
I just bumped into him yesterday, eh?
He's a great center player. He does a face-off real good, eh?
We went out for Moosehead. He was working at this company, and I just kept bugging him until there was an opening there, and then got in the door there. And then that company was open for like I worked for them for like, I don't know, a year, 15 months or something like that. And then that they went out of business. This will be a theme in my career, as you'll see.
Okay.
and then I moved. So I just kind of freelanced for a little bit, and then just started putting resumes out. And again, this was the early days of the internet. I made it was still owned by Macromedia, a Flash web page that was like my demo reel online, and you could hit a button and it played a song that I had written. And I think that was more impressive to anybody than the thing that I had written.
Right.
So they're like, so I got a job down in Austin, Texas, which took me back to the States. And then they had a development studio here in Cincinnati. So I moved here, and then they went out of business.
Okay. Wow.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
And just to how you got to where you are now.
That's all. Okay. That's it. I answered it.
Yeah.
I knew what I was doing.
Nice. Good job. Okay. So Robin, I'd love to hear the story, because I interviewed you when I was at CFNY at 102.1 The Edge, and you were with a band at the time called Black Summer Crush.
CFNY. Come on.
Wow.
102.1 The Edge. DJ Craig G here, Insomniac Theater. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't really actually change my voice at all, to be honest. I didn't really.
I didn't change my voice at all.
No.
Saturday. You did change the pronunciation of your last name. Your last name has gone through quite a few pronunciation changes.
It's gone through a few. Yeah.
It's pretty Quebecois at this point.
It's Gador.
Are you going for the
yeah.
More
I'm hoping the Nordiques are going to come back, and I'm going full Quebec, baby. Yeah,
A little more
I-
ethnic.
was it Gadar when you guys were here?
Yeah.
Is that what I was calling myself? Craig Gadar.
Godower.
No, I never said Godower. No, I
Yes, you
never
did.
Robin, I never said that. Craig Gowdower. That's what people
Yeah.
call me. That's what people call me when they call me from the bank. Mr. Gowdower. It's like, yeah, that's me.
Okay, so for the record, how is it pronounced?
Gador.
Gador.
So it's like, okay, so think of it this
Gador.
way. GE hyphen
Thank you, Chris
door.
McBride.
Like door that you open. Door. Craig Gador. That's how my father says it. And I've
Don't you
gotten
have
all
to buy a vowel or something to make it that?
It sounds like an Australian
you need to
greeting.
lose.
Yeah.
You need to lose like 4 vowels.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty
Way
much.
of
No,
pronouncing it.
actually I
There's a
found out
silent
too.
Q in there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. QH. Yeah. Farquharson. That's my favorite one. Farquharson. Well, come on, you guys in the States. Brett Favre. Come on, guys. Brett, it's Fave, not Favre.
Favre.
It's Favre.
Is this
He's
the guy
my
that-
favorite.
This guy that
Favre.
directed Swingers?
No.
Basically.
Yeah,
I don't know
same
football.
thing. Yeah, no, I actually found out recently that I have I'm Métis Indian, Canadian Indian, which is
Oh, we'll
cool. I
start a
found
club.
that.
My dad
Yeah.
is too.
Oh yeah, nice. What's I'm Ojibwe. What's yours?
You
What's
know
your
what?
sign, baby?
They were half and half for so long, nobody even knows.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a status card? Do you have your
No,
interest?
actually, my dad said the best thing, it was 2 generations before, the best thing they ever did was get off the reserve and stop paying attention to that at all.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I have nothing to say to that. I have
no idea. I
Yeah.
have no experience about it at all. The one interesting thing I find about it is just where he's from in relatively northern Alberta. So he's from northern Alberta,
Mhm.
and he learned English when he joined the army.
Okay.
So he's French. Like everyone up there, everyone all over the north of all
Everyone
the provinces is
Everyone
French.
spoke French.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same thing for my family. Yeah, everybody spoke French. Yeah. So your dad's side was Alberta and your mom's side was Quebec?
My lovely complexion comes from the peaches and cream from my mother's British. She's from Manchester. So basically she she thinks about the sun and has to put some cream on it. This actually, okay, hold on. This is the true story. When she came from industrial Manchester, so it's either raining or it's smog. She never saw the sun. She heard there was one, but she never actually saw it. Moved. She got married to my dad during the Second World War. Took a troop ship across or whatever. Went over to Canada to live with his family while he was finishing off the war, and went up into the mountains in Alberta. First summer there, hospitalized with sunburn. You never seen the thing before. That's nice. We'll get a little bit of it on our arms here. Wore a jacket all the time for the rest of her life. Anytime she was outside, no matter how hot it was.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I burn like a lobster too. I'm brutal. I'm a full on Scot. So
it's
not like
sunnier than bloody soft Mick.
That's my mom. Yeah. That's what she would say. Bloody soft Mick.
I remember that for some reason.
Yeah.
Can't remember my phone number. But
no, I don't remember.
Say bloody soft Mick.
So Robin, when you finished up at North Texas U, right? That's where you were going to music college?
College. Yeah.
College. Yeah, as you guys say in the States, college.
Although it was the University of North Texas.
What was the first band that you had done when you got out of North Texas U? And who were the musicians? Like, how did you guys all sort of come together as far as getting into Black Summer Crush and all that stuff?
So the Californians. So I did do a couple of victory laps around Texas, wedding bands, etc. And then moved to LA. Knew like 2 people. Went on some random like any gig, you get given. Went on one that we were told was a Hurricane Katrina fundraiser. We get there and we realize, oh, this is a fundraiser for the Scientology Center in New York. It was a Scientologist fundraiser. So there's like all these actors and actresses that are in Scientology that make a
Wow.
lot more than I do.
Yeah.
And we're like donating our time to this. That was interesting. We were told it was at Isaac Hayes' house. It wasn't. It was at just some rental mansion in Beverly Hills.
Was Tom Cruise?
But
Was
Isaac,
Tom Cruise there?
no, but Isaac Hayes was there. And that was cool.
Nice.
And he was totally listening, and it was great. So on that gig was Miley, the drummer from
Right.
Black Summer Crush originally, and then eventually Rival Sons. And we made fast friends real quick, kept in touch, and then he was like, "Hey, you know what? I've been starting this band with this guy. You should come out and you should come to practice or audition or rehearsal."
Yeah.
And met them and just kind of started that up. And then I talked to you on the radio, and that's when it really happened for me.
In Canada.
That's right. You know
To
what?
the 6,000 people that were listening to me on a Saturday night at 3:00 in the morning.
To this day, Rival Sons is way more popular in Canada than the US.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Touring
cool.
the US was hard. Touring Canada was awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Because when you came up here and you wore that pinstripe suit on stage, remember the suit?
Where was it? Yes.
The
I
black
sold
and
that
black
suit,
and white
but-
suit. You sold
Oh,
that
black
suit?
and white?
Yeah.
Black and white? No. I gave that one away. I sold another one.
Oh, you should
Yeah.
have sold it. It was worth dozens. No, that was a fun gig. I remember because you'd called me and said, "Hey, man, I'm coming into town. Meet me downtown on this day at a restaurant. Tell me a restaurant that's close to Lee's Palace." And I told you, but I think it was the Elephant and the Elephant Pub, and you were like, "Yeah, okay, I'll meet you there." And then we went to the show, and you played at Lee's Palace, and it was fucking kick ass.
And
It was
how
really
late
good.
were you to that restaurant?
Still hasn't
well-
shown.
Well, I wasn't Leon late, but I was late. So I'm sure I was at least a half an hour late. All I know is that you managed to drink a whole pint by the time I got there. So you were a
10
pint
Oh,
in.
so,
Like 10
so it was only
seconds?
4 minutes. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So another one here, guys. Let's have some fun with this one because I'd love to hear. I'm sure everybody's had it. Worst gig you've ever done. Whoever wants to go first, go ahead. Worst live gig.
They're all bad.
They're kind of all bad and they're all good. You know, like
Right.
like it could be a really. I'm doing way more orchestra stuff than anything else. And if I'm about to play a solo, like let's see, 2 years ago, playing Bolero, there's a big trombone solo that's just barely within trombone range, and I never thought I was one of those guys, but it would be coming up, and I'd just be staring at my trombone. Are you going to jump out of my hands and leave me naked here? Or what's about to happen here? But they happen to work out all the time. I don't know. And like there's ones I remember playing up in a biker bar in
Oh, here we go.
Midland, somewhere near there.
Mhm.
And I'm what the sax player turned out to be. He's been a cop for like 30 years, 20 years. Yeah, it's probably 30 years now. But he's like down there, and I'm playing bass. I'm just like playing stuff, and I just kind of look down, and there's some just monstrous pile of hair and muscle dancing with his tenor while he's playing alto on the stage. And I'm going, oh my God, like, because I'm thinking he's going to jump the guy. And I'm thinking, oh man, I don't want to be in the middle of this, But he just kind of like the singer, nice girl, went and talked to him and just kind of put it back on stage. And I'm going, I can't believe that happens so not like it does in the movies where, you have to race out the door, and put up the chicken wire, etc.
Right.
Chicken wire. Yeah, we've all played in chicken wire venues for sure.
I played
Playing
a
a couple
celebration of life party that Diane Sawyer was at, just as a matter of course.
Okay.
And they didn't want us to play, like, they wanted to celebrate the life, so we're playing dance music and stuff. And I specifically remember we were playing Journey, Small Town Girl.
Celebration.
Journey, small town girl, and like just having this out of body experience. Like, what am I doing here? I'm playing it. This is so bizarre. Just Diane Sawyer's here. All I need is like my first grade English teacher to show up and go karting with me, and this would just be like the weirdest dream ever.
Nice,
How was
Robin.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, how is she?
The worst ones I can think of is like when a band member is like too drunk to play or something, and you just feel really embarrassed. Or in high school at Unionville, I remember playing a rather insufficient upright bass in like our award-winning wind ensemble. Don't call it a concert band; it's a wind ensemble. And we were at what's that theater on York something, where Ragtime played forever. What's that theater down there? Young Street?
The
Royal
Pantages.
something.
Pantages.
No, north.
I know the one you're talking about, like north of Shepherd, between Shepherd and Finch.
There we go. That one, exactly.
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, I played there just last year.
I think it's now the Ford Theater or something like that. Yeah.
It might have been the Ford then. Chris McBride saying it's Toronto Center for the Arts. So whatever it was then, near Mel Lastman Square.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes.
so like prestigious place, right? And the bridge to the upright like falls off in the bus on the way to the gig, and like I'm not like really an upright player, so I like do my best. I put it back on, looks good to me. Playing the first couple notes, snap, bridge flies off, goes across the stage. I'm like, okay, put my bass down, go get the bridge, come back to my bass.
Bridge.
Untuning every single tuning peg, like it takes forever. Okay, I get it back in. I've missed the first movement now. Okay, second movement. Here we go. Boom, boom, snap. Put the bass down. Go get the bridge. Come back.
You need entertainment for the people who aren't into the music.
Yeah.
I was that. And then I finally get it on like third in the middle to late end of the third movement. Do it again, trying it again, and then it falls out, and it's just like, okay. By that time we were playing the national anthem as like to close out the show, so I just stood there and sang.
Wow.
That was a pretty rough gig. I did get lots of kudos though. There were a lot of audience members that were like, that was really tough, but you handled it really well. Good job.
Participation trophy.
Yeah,
right?
We've all had those gigs where Craig, you tried your best. You really did. Good for you, honey.
Where Craig breaks every drum head on his kit.
Yeah, I've done that.
Oh, that was another one. I did break every string but an A string on a cover gig. That was kind of fun.
Whoa.
Trying to play cover music on one string. That was cool too.
I played on a keyboard that would randomly shift up a semitone. That was fun.
Would it shift back down, or do you have to do something to do that?
It would occasionally shift back down by itself.
Wow.
And it wasn't related to like the pitch shift or anything. It was just, it would all of a sudden be, and it wasn't a perfect semitone. It was like, I mean, if that's like what the semitone in cents, if it was 30 cents, if it was 30 cents, it would be like 28 and a quarter cents.
That's what happens if Robin, you ever broken just one string and tried to play with a three? Because it seems like it should work, except they all go out of tune just a bit. I was playing at Wonderland, playing bass 5 minutes into the show, and my E string broke. When the hell does that happen?
One.
And so not only does it break, but it flops over all the other ones. Right?
You gotta rip it off real quick.
I put it over my head, like behind my back, and I
wore it as a scarf.
Well, yeah, but I thought this should be fine. And then I realized every note I can't remember which way I had to go. I guess it probably got a little too, like I had to shift like almost a semitone and bend it up a bit or something. Like I remember doing just ridiculous things trying to finish the show. And thankfully it was at the venue I was at, there was two bands who would alternate there, and the other bass player ran out with his bass. So I finished the show with his bass.
It was very nice.
Wow.
I just remember playing Brick House. One string, it was fun.
Wow, that would be impressive. Yeah, that's impressive. I actually remember a gig that all four of us were on that still for me to this day is one of my favorites, and I still talk about it. And every time I do, it always makes people laugh. And it was at the Toronto Festival of Beer, and it was
Tattoo Boy.
that Tattoo Boy's there for sure. But I remember all four of us being on this gig at the Toronto Festival of Beer, and in between every single song, we went, I remember Robin and I went the day before and went and visited all of the breweries and said, we're a band, we're going to be playing here tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're a high energy funk band. You guys are going to have a great time. They're like, oh, well, make sure you say hi to us. We'll bring you some beer. And Robin and I are like, fuck yeah. So we go to every single brewery and we're like, yeah, we're doing this. And you say it the same thing to every single one, right? So literally we all go on stage. I look at Nelson and I'm like, dude, all we have to do is just shout out a brewery in between every single song and they're going to give us beer. Nelson's like, done. So because you were doing most of the MC work for the gigs, right? So our
No. Hey, just want to give a shout out to this brewery over there.
Exactly.
10 minutes later, a whole 6-pack comes up to the stage.
That's right. A whole tray of like glasses and stuff, right? So it was like, hey, everybody at the Cameron's Brewing Company, say hi. And everybody at Cameron's would go, yay, right? And then by the time the song that we finished, we were in the middle of, a tray would come over of beer. So we're drinking beer and we do this about 5 or 6 times.
Oh yeah, we punched that button plenty.
And then finally I'll never forget, we finished off with KLB. Nelson goes, oh yeah, oh boy, okay, just give me. He does this.
We're gonna take a short break.
He goes, just give me a second. Okay, all right, we're almost done here. And what was the name of the band? I can't remember. Do you guys remember the name of the band by any chance? Our funk band?
The Intelligence.
Was it the Intelligence?
No, but that was one of the famous mispronunciations.
It
was a very clever name.
Was it Fun with the K?
Eventually,
was it Fun with the K?
An intelligent-looking band.
Because everybody wore glasses or something silly like that, and nobody wanted to bother naming the band. We tried to play. We got this guy that wanted to book us, and he was like, "That's a silly name. How about the Intelligence?" And we're like, "Okay,
just pay me."
I remember doing that laugh with you two, Nelson.
We did that.
Yeah. So we get to the second last tune, and I think ironically the tune would have been you horn players would have been Brick House was one of the songs that we used to do in our sets. So Nelson's standing there, and he's got the microphone, and he's like, oh, okay. Whew, okay, here we go. I can do this. and I had earbuds on, right? And I can hear everything he's saying. I was sitting at the drum kit and I'm literally doubled over the drums, laughing my ass off as Nelson's going, okay, buddy, you just got 2 more to go. Let's go. And he's like, okay, everyone knows this one. Let's party. By the way, everybody at KLB, say hi. Don't bring us any beer. 1, 2, 3. And everybody at KLB is like, yay, right? And then next thing you know, sure enough, a tray full of beer. We all grab one, and Nelson's got one. He's standing, horn in one hand, glass in the other, and he's like, I just can't do it. I can't. He puts it down. And I've still got the earbuds in, right? And I'm laughing my ass off. And he's like, I can't do it. I'm like, Nelson, just have one more. And he's like, okay, just give me a second. I mean, sets it down. And I'm watching him do this the whole time. And I'm like, Nelson, one more. And he's like, Craig, fuck off. I can't do anymore. I was like, okay, all right, you're fine. You don't need to do any more. And at that gig too, I remember that was the exact same gig where we walked in and Leon walks on stage, because you don't really tend to swear, right, Leon? You don't really swear very often.
Don't think so.
Yeah, I don't. You guys could probably attest to this too. You've known him a long time as well. I rarely see
He
or
swore
hear.
more after we knew him socially, like outside of school.
Yeah,
Then you'd
Yeah.
hear the
Except when I
occasional.
fired that sax player.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Good times.
was I there for that? No.
I don't know.
It was a
Well, go ahead.
beaches.
What were you saying
sorry.
there, Craig?
I was saying. So we got on stage, and I didn't realize because I had actually booked the gig, and I didn't realize because they said we're going to have an electric piano for your keyboardist there. We get on stage. All of a sudden, I hear from behind me. I hear Leon go, "Holy shit! Can I use that?" And it was a B3, a Hammond
With a
B3
Leslie,
with
yeah.
a Leslie. And I looked at him and I was like, I didn't know that was going to be. Hang on a second. And I went and I talked to the sound technician, and already Leon is literally like standing behind it going like, oh, can't wait to get my hands on this thing. And yeah, sure enough, I came back on stage. He's like, yeah, go ahead. He said he's going to come up and actually mic the Leslie for you. So yeah, that was honestly, that was one of those gigs I will never, ever, ever forget. We can see comments. Yes, we can.
Rob did that so we didn't interrupt the flow of the conversation going on.
Oh, I see.
Oh, there was distracting at all, was it?
No.
There was something in here. Leon, you were asked, have you ever done chorus line?
I feel like I have, but I feel like I was subbing. For a while, it seemed like I never had time to do a full show, but I seemed to be working almost as much subbing. Like someone would go, okay, I need Friday and Saturday to go and play like this show, so go and play bass for me, or piano. Oh my gosh, the worst. Okay, Sweeney Todd. You guys know how
I did Sweeney Todd.
Chromatic it is.
I did Sweeney Todd just before I worked with Nelson. Yeah, that was the first musical I did. Yeah.
The poor lady who was playing keyboard one, her father was sick and down in New York. She had to disappear. So I had to go and play the keyboard one part on like a Friday or Saturday night show. It might have been both of them, Friday and Saturday night show. And I didn't get the book because I was like really busy at school or whatever. And so I went to look at the book at like 6 o'clock before the 8 o'clock show. You know, it was
wow.
I've had dreams like that.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, the musical director said, okay, went through the book with me and said, Lyle Corrigan went through the book and said, this is, you don't have to play this. You don't have to play this. You have to play this. Like, it was like, there was what the keyboard one parts are basically a reduction of everything else that's going on. So if you tried to play it all, like you don't need any other instruments then. So that made it a lot easier, but there's so many, chromatic-y kind of things to give it that surreal quality that that belongs with the show, of course.
Mm-hmm. How did it go?
I got through it.
It happened.
It went by and I saw no effigies of me hung.
It was so chromatic that they didn't notice.
It didn't make the list of worst gigs.
It did not.
No. Well, thank goodness.
I remember
sorry,
Unionville did chorus line. I think it was a little bit after my time, a couple of years or something.
Yeah, that Jen, my wife, was in chorus line.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in that. That's right. Yeah. And actually, now my wife, and this is the other thing too, is that Nelson introduced me to my now wife. A show that we did years ago called Nonsense 2.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I remember that.
Nonsense 2. Yeah, we were all in it.
I haven't seen Nonsense 1.
Actually, neither have I. I've never seen it. I've never seen Nonsense 1.
What is the motivation? I don't know.
That was a great show. Actually, as a matter of fact, the orchestra pit for Nonsense 2 is right here. This was the orchestra pit for Nonsense 2. Yeah, it was the four of us. Yeah.
So the cool thing about Nonsense 2 is that there is no Nonsense 1. It was like so parody that they just started at the second one.
3.5. 33 and a third.
33 and a third. Exactly. Okay. So last, I just wanted to quickly ask you guys this already, if you don't mind. And no, it's not going to be it's not going to be a math. It's not going to be a math problem. So yeah, it was my understanding when I took this job, there would be no math. Famous people that you've met on the road, doing gigs. You've all had rich musical careers. Let's face it, you've all done a million things. Somebody that you bumped into that you just was great or was bad. I told last week of being told to F off by John Lydon, Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols, told me to fuck off, which was great. And I was like,
I played a Celebration of Life gig, and Diane Sawyer was there.
Right, Diane Sawyer, right. True story. That happened.
I know him, and he's met Diane Sawyer.
2 degrees from Diane Sawyer.
Come on, guys. This is what it was like for me back in the day. Yeah. I was always the butt of all the jokes, but I loved it. I loved being the butt. I don't know.
I was at a party. Isaac Hayes was at a party.
Nice.
We're just recapping for anyone that's coming in late.
Yeah, Rob's gonna have the stories here, I think.
Yeah.
You met Bootsy Collins, dude. Don't give me that.
That's true.
Who did?
Nelson.
Who met Bootsy?
Is that your other brother? Oh.
You did? Nelson.
So, Beach, a.k.a. Nelson, did the soundtrack for NBA Jam 2K, right?
Oh.
And Bootsy Collins was like the voice.
Sorry.
And so there was a big old meeting.
We did a basketball game that had eras, so you could play from the 60s, 70s, and today, which was like the 90s probably at that time. And Bootsy did the dialogue for that, so he came in and was doing all his shtick, man, and it was awesome. He was an amazing dude. And I had written the theme for the game. It's NBA Jam 2004, and I wrote the track on the tune, and I kind of gave it to him, and he sort of took it and did a little piece in the middle where he was Casper and doing his oh yeah, Bobble, and I was like, oh.
That's
so I always
so
make
cool.
sure to tell people I written a song with Bootsy.
Yeah.
And then, did he or did he not get paid in chicken?
I doubt it.
Oh,
he
told me a story that.
No. So a friend of mine,
he was friends with.
Yeah, Bootsy's like a local cat around this area, and he's so like some of the older guys have like hung out with them, and one of the guys that I worked with at the video game place, he engineered some stuff with them, and he wouldn't call it like let's go get a bucket of chicken. He called it a bucket of cluck.
Oh wow,
that's the bucket.
Okay.
But that's so much funky. That's so much funkier than Robin's.
Let's go get a bucket.
Robin's writing it down. Go get a bucket of cluck. That is so much fun. Yeah, Bootsy is he's funky in everything that he does. He's just badass.
Yeah, super nice dude too.
Spell it like it's a German word though.
What, super badass or
cluck?
Oh.
With an umlaut?
2 umlauts.
At least one.
Leon, have you
Gador?
Gador. Yeah. Door.
A bucket of Gador.
Bucket of Gador.
Sometimes I take my lady out for a bucket of Gador.
Okay, Revolution Radio has been renamed.
There it is.
It is
all right.
Bucket of Gador.
Forget, where's the captions here? Graphics, here we go. You see this lovely logo here? That's right beside Robin. Nice. Forget that. That's going to be a B and a G soon. It's going to be Bucket of Gador. There it is. Bucketed. Anyway. No,
that's a euphemism for just a really good thing.
Yeah. I like that, actually. Yeah. Let's do that from now on. That sushi was the best. It was a bucket of Gador. I love it. Yep. Thanks, guys. I actually now have a thing. Thanks to you guys. I really appreciate it. Leon, have you bumped into anybody? Yeah, you guys, your royalty checks are in the mail. Have you bumped into anybody over the years, Leon, that you're like, wow?
I don't even know, because I look at people like, not Bootsy, but I mean, most people, Jason Momoa, if I bump into him, it doesn't mean much to me, but I got to play.
Did you bump into Jason Momoa?
Sounds like a joke.
Cassidy. Like Bruce Cassidy slummed and played with me for a while. And Shelley Berger used to drop by, like guys, people like that. Or way back when I was young, I met Edward Villela, who was a principal dancer with the New York Ballet.
Yeah. And
I was still dancing then. And
you played rugby
that
too?
Just freaked me out. Sorry?
You played rugby too?
What?
No, he probably wouldn't be able to. It wasn't enough. There's a certain mass you have to get to. It's like you can be a great basketball player, and unless you're Muggsy Bogues, it doesn't matter if you're 5'4", it doesn't matter how good you are.
Right. A quick question. You said when I was dancing?
Yeah, I was a ballet dancer for 9 years.
Erotic ballet.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Until I moved to Montreal from Montreal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that what paid the bills, or?
No. I was young. I was like, it was from, until I was like 15 or 16, 17, somewhere in that area. What happened, what kind of made me not be a ballet dancer, it was because it was only ballet. It was only Giacchetti ballet. And it's very much like gymnastics. You have to have a specific body type, and anything else won't do. And I started getting, like, I had when I stopped ballet, the year I stopped, I know my waist was 28, but I weighed 205. So if you can picture what that body looks like, that's not a ballet body.
Right.
It was a good rugby body
at all.
But yeah, it's not. I had really big quads and just like too much shoulder and chest. Like, it looks stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid. And that's the thing. Yeah, you've always had that kind of like stance of like the big giant shoulders and stuff. You're so huggable, Leon. That's what you are.
True say, yo.
Yeah. So huggable. And speaking of which, I wish I could give all. Honestly, it's been so long. I wish I could give all of you guys hugs, but we're not allowed to do that right now. So,
hey, we're vaccinated. Oh,
yeah, but I'm not.
The problem is my understanding is that means you will have reduced symptoms and less likely to get it, but you are still capable of passing it on.
All right, voice of reason.
Sorry. Damn.
Thanks, Leon. Thanks for ruining my idea. That's right. Thanks for ruining my idea of a hug. Boys, I sincerely want to thank all of you guys for joining me this evening. We've been at this now for almost an hour and a half, which is awesome. And I can literally talk to you guys all night.
But need another drink.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. But we'll definitely do this again. So I just wanted to say, honestly, thank you so much. That's the dance.
Where's the dance belt?
I love the Fu Manchu that you've got on it too.
Of course.
Honestly, that is an absolutely perfect way to sign off. Robin Everhart, Nelson Everhart, Leon Racine, boys, thank you guys so much for doing the roundtable with me tonight. I really, really appreciate it. And as I say, this is just the beginning. So this is episode 5, right? So this is just the beginning for us. Yeah. So
it's nice hearing all you guys talk.
Honestly, guys, thank you.
Thing.
Honestly, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you being here. And we'll keep them. Oh, hello, puppy. And
this is my dog, Bootsy.
Bootsy?
I've met him.
Nice.
I've met him.
Diane Sawyer's around here somewhere.
I've met him once or twice. Yeah. Diane Sawyer's here too. Yeah. Bootsy and Diane Sawyer. All righty. Boys, we will always have Bootsy and Diane Sawyer. So thank you for
everything.
And a bucket of Gador. That's right. Guys, take care of yourselves.
That's my time. I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's right. Boys, thank you so much. Have a great night, okay? We will talk to you soon. Honestly, Robin, Nelson, Leon, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you hanging out.
Sure, dude.
Peace out.